Welcome to Double Booked with Chris and Chris. My name is Christina.
And I'm Crystal, and we are two Canadian women brought together by a Spuddy book club and love of all things books.
In today's episode, we are discussing Not in Love. Editing Christina here. I just wanted to jump in and let you all know that we've actually decided to split this week's video into 2 episodes. So part 1, which you are currently watching, we will be discussing Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood on its own. And then in 2 weeks' time, we'll be uploading the rest of our discussion for Problematic Summer Romance. We did this because we wanted to, I'm sorry for the dogs in the background. We did this because we wanted to give you guys more opportunity to read both books if you haven't. And I know Problematic Summer Romance was only published a couple of months ago. So if you haven't been able to get your hands on it, then we wanted to give you the opportunity to do that. As I believe we mentioned, Not in Love and Problematic Summer Romance is a series. While you can read them separately, we do highly recommend that you read Not in Love ahead of Problematic Summer Romance because you get a deeper understanding, a better understanding of who the characters are and where they come from. So I hope you enjoy this week's episode of Double Booked. Not in Love follows Rue Siebert, who is a food scientist working for a biotech company called Klein, and she is working on a biofilm to prolong the shelf life of fresh food and produce. She is very much not a relationship girly, and she meets Eli Kilgore on a dating app, basically a hookup app.
I was going to say a dating app is gently. It's a hookup app.
It's a hookup app. She meets him. She has no idea who she is, and their night is ruined by her brother, who is trying to get to her for some reason. Not necessarily maliciously. He's not trying to harm her or anything. He just wants to have a conversation with her.
But he goes about it in a way that's very scary.
He's very aggressive. Yeah. He's a very aggressive man. Yeah. But Eli steps in, he helps take care of the situation, and their night doesn't go as either of them had hoped. And then we find Rue the next day at work, and there's a company-wide staff meeting called, and we see her boss, Florence Klein, who is also one of Rue's best friends, up on the stage talking about how a private equity firm has bought the loan assignment or something. I'm not a finance person. They've acquired the loan assignment for Klein, which basically means that they are now in charge of the loan. And lo and behold, we see Eli Kilgore on stage with the private equity firm Harkness, and Rue kind of starts to spiral a little bit.
Oh my God, I would spiral. That was, right? It's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, especially for kind of what those like reputations for those kinds of companies and stuff. She's like, this man's about to ruin my life.
Oh, absolutely. But I feel like she's less concerned about her personal life and more concerned about her best friend Florence, and like, what the heck are they going to do to Florence to like mess up her work? Are they going to steal her patents and all of that? Which is kind of rough. So she's concerned about Florence's well-being more so than herself.
All right. So my initial thoughts is I don't know. I had conflicting feelings about this one. Overall, I really like the story, but it does have a very like melancholy tone to it, which I don't know if it was just because I was going through like a really rough patch and I was like, wow, this book is making me more bummed about things. But it's definitely like, I know you previously said that Ali Hazelwood had said that this book is quite different from a lot of her books.
Yeah, so I have the book here, and she wrote like an author's note at the beginning that basically says, "Dear reader, I wanted to drop a quick note to let you know that Not in Love is tonally a little different from the works I've published in the past. Rue and Eli have dealt with and still deal with the fallout from issues such as grief, food insecurity, and child neglect. They are eager to make a connection, but are not sure how to go about it except through a physical relationship. The result is, I think, less of a rom-com and more of an erotic romance. Rue and Eli's story has, of course, a happily ever after, but it also contains some serious themes, and I wanted to give you a heads up so you know what to expect. Love, Ali. So, like, yeah, this book is a lot heavier thematically than the rest of her novels.
And so this is my very first Ali Hazelwood book that I've ever read.
Okay.
She is one of your favorite authors, but yeah, I've never.
Yes.
Not in Love was my first Ali Hazelwood, and I did like it. I did find it very hard to connect to the characters, which kind of made it hard for me to like binge read it. Like some of the characters, I was like, I don't know if I even really like these people. Like, and for me, like if I'm gonna like read something quick or get into it, like I need to kind of feel like I'm rooting for them a little bit, and I didn't always know if I was rooting for them. But I did really enjoy the story. I enjoyed like the fact that they had like a very fast sexual relationship versus alongside a very slow romance, like a very slow burn romance, which was I don't think I've read a book like that. And yeah, overall I did like it. I would recommend, but I would also kind of like reiterate the warning that like Ali herself gave before recommending it to a friend.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. From my perspective, this is a reread for me. I had previously read, I think I bought this when it came out sometime last year, and I had previously read the rest of her novels. I started with Bride, which was, I think, my first Ali Hazelwood book, and that is a paranormal romance, so like very different from the contemporary romances that she usually writes. And then read the rest of them, and then Not in Love. And again, I think I had similar feelings to you. Like I didn't really connect with the characters. When I picked it up, I was looking for like a light romance rom-com, and this is not that. You do still get some of those funny moments, but it's not like, again, you're dealing with these people who have suffered with really hard childhoods, who have now grown up, and they're still dealing with the aftermath of those circumstances and situations. So it's a lot heavier. And I enjoyed it the first time, but I loved it a lot more this time that I read it the second time. And again, similar to you, I was when I picked it up to read it for book club, I was having a really rough week. And so I feel like
we were struggle busting together.
Yes. But I feel like because of that, I felt more deeply. So like she talks about her food insecurities at one point, and how summer was her least favorite time of the year because she didn't have the school lunch program. So she was her and her younger brother were going days and days without food. And when she asked her mom, like when she was going to the store, she'd be like, oh, I'm going soon. But then never left the house to go pick any food up. And the struggle that Rue had when it came to like maintaining healthy eating habits, like she needed to sit down for every meal. She couldn't just grab a granola bar on the go. Like she needed to actually sit down and like chew and taste her food and process it like, yes, I'm eating. Otherwise those kind of mental hurdles isn't the right word, but like she would be thrown back into how she felt mentally as a child. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like this second time through, because I had a basic remembrance of what I had read the first time, but being able to like read it a little bit more deeply, I feel like I felt it a lot more this time.
Yeah. No, it was a feeler. Like I was in my feels through the whole book. But yeah it is good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really liked too, just the process of Rue. Oh, I wrote it down talking about the main couple's chemistry and compatibility, but
oh my God,
like
all my notes are about their chemistry and like the tension. Their chemistry was off the charts from the beginning. Like,
it was so good.
So good.
Yeah.
It was one of the best parts of the book, was just like their chemistry and their tension. Like it was so good.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't think it's ever explicitly stated if Rue is on any like behavioral spectrums. But she comes across as very aloof, very like she's very quiet. She takes a little while to like build trust in people, and I really enjoyed seeing her growth throughout the story when it came to like obviously her relationship with Eli.
Yeah. Well, I feel like even as readers, like we kind of grow with Rue. Like at the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if I really like I'm harding to get, and like slowly through it, you're connecting more with her as you're getting in. Like you kind of almost as the reader have that slow burn with Rue herself, like where you're kind of starting to like her more and more. And like by the end, I did really like Rue. I thought she was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did take a little time to get into. And then obviously with Eli, he's coming in and you're like, I don't know if I like him either. Like,
yeah.
It was an interesting journey. And I think kind of like the first book of like, I don't think I've ever read a book quite like it, where I'm kind of slow burning with the characters as much to like this degree.
I've never heard it explained like the way you just described it, of like they had a very fast sexual relationship, but it is a slow burn romance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mix of those together is so interesting because, you know, it's the slow burn and then eventually they get together and they have the big bang and you're like, woo, there we go. Whereas this, you're kind of getting like, and she does herself describe it as more of an erotic kind of novel, and it is spicy, like, and the spice scenes are really well written. Like I thought those were like, but yeah, and then the actual romance is very like, it is very slow burn. There is one scene that once we get a little bit out of our spoilery section where I was like, I don't know how I feel about this scene. Like it actually, I had to like put the book down for a second and like process how I felt about that scene.
Do you have, like, what was your favorite or your least favorite moment of this book?
It's so hard. Like, I feel like with this one, there's a few. Like, it's actually probably one of the books where, like, I thoroughly enjoyed the ending and how it ended almost over the meat of the book. Because sometimes you love a book and then the ending, and I don't want to say the full ending yet, but, like, I loved the ending. There's one part I wasn't quite as satisfied with, but overall I thought the ending was beautiful. And I think my least favorite was, I think it was just like the connection to the characters, where it took me a while to like them, which did add to the story, but it was still like hard. I don't know. It's a weird one for me. But I don't know. What do they have? And this, I did really like the side characters. I feel like I'm terrible. I'm going to butcher some, but Minami or
Minami? I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah.
I am the quintessential, like, when you're like the audiobook reader's like, do you mean this? And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been saying it in my head this way the whole time. But she in this book was like my favorite character out of all of them. I thought she was great. But yeah, I don't really have like a super, like, usually while I'm reading our stuff, I'm like really taking notes and stuff. And with these ones, I kind of wasn't taking as much notes. I was more about like exact lines, but just more of how I was feeling throughout the book. Yeah, I don't know. It just like how I approached it just felt differently because I don't know, maybe the style.
I didn't have a favorite moment. I think, like you said, because it was like a heavier book and my mental capacity at the time. And like I enjoyed, like obviously I really liked this book. It's like I love Ali Hazelwood so much. But my least favorite moment, and obviously it's part of the story, but I really disliked Florence's MO. Like I won't say more until we jump into like the spoiler section, but I was just like, and like again, going into it again, having read it previously, I had that history of the character and like just seeing how, and this book is a dual POV, so we get Rue's perspective and Eli's perspective, and so like learning the history. Yeah. I was also really intrigued, and I didn't remember this the first time, but Rue's POV chapters are written in first person and Eli's are written in third person. And I thought that was really interesting. Like, yeah. So like you have like, and I think it's labeled at the top of each chapter, like whose POV it is, but you didn't need that because it was written differently for each character. And I enjoyed that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I definitely didn't pick up on that, but yeah, that kind of makes sense now that you've said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite line? Did you have a favorite line?
Oh, I did write down a favorite. Oh no, that was not for this one. Not really. I did like the one when they first meet and they're like talking about him and she's like calling him like, you could be the Unabomber. Then he turns out his last name is Kilgore.
Yeah.
I laughed really hard, and that's like kind of the beginning before things do get heavy. But I thought that was really funny. In general, they just had good banter. Like they were pretty. Yeah. They were pretty good, but nothing like crazy. But yeah, the Unabomber Kilgore line was pretty funny.
Yeah. My favorite, I think it's in chapter 13, but and I don't quite remember the context of it, but it's Rue talking, and she goes, "The glasses are there too. They didn't make him look smarter or softer or more distinguished, but they did transform him into private equity Eli. Even worse, they suited him, which was just unforgivable." Like I like how like funny she is.
She's so funny.
Yeah, like, and again, it takes a little while to like break down her walls for her to get comfortable with people, but once she's comfortable with you, she's spitting out these one-liners. She's like making fun of you, like teasing you. It's so funny. Yeah.
Oh my God, her with the dog. I thought that was also really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I highlighted that too. Let me find it. I don't think I wrote it down. No, I didn't write it down. Hang on. It was like, I laughed so hard at this. "I was assaulted by a 300-pound grizzly bear. It bellowed at me as its paws slammed into my torso with the force of a dinosaur extinguishing meteor, sending me careening back into Eli's solid front."
Right? And I pictured it so much. She's in his house, and I'm picturing his house like super contemporary, like clean, like these kind of like harsh lines. And then there's just like this monstrosity of a dog bounding at her. Yep. And I feel like I could picture Rue really well. Like the descriptions of her, I thought were really good. And then, but no, I think I did overall enjoy it. I don't always read things tonally that are similar to this. But I did enjoy it. And it's kind of like one of those things where like, I'm glad I pushed out of my comfort zone a little bit with it. And I'm definitely excited to read other Ali Hazelwood books. I'm getting 3 back to back, but I am interested to see how the other ones go. And actually, another podcaster. Do you know who Alona Mar is?
Yeah,
she's the rugby player. So her and her sisters do a podcast as well, and they do a book corner moment and they like spicy books. And they talk about it and stuff. And they literally, in the episode I listened to this morning, brought up, because Alona is in love with Bride. She loves that book so much. And then some of the sisters were talking about how they had read Not in Love and a couple of her other books and stuff. And like, it was interesting that they talked about their takes on it too. So I was like, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I haven't actually heard any of that podcast before.
Yeah.
But I know she's a book lover. I keep seeing like little like clips or reels on Instagram, which is really, really fun.
Yeah. No, but I like it. But yeah, literally on her newest one, they talked about Not in Love and a couple of the other ones. So that was pretty cool. All right. Is it time? Do we get into it?
I think it's time.
All right. So we should talk Isla, like starting off with their first meeting.
Yeah.
And is so good. Like that whole scene, I feel like was so well written with them like meeting up. They're talking about their preferences. Like it's going down like a business deal, which is interesting. Like I'm picturing this hotel lobby and whatnot. And it's like, I feel like a lot of this book to me, I pictured in a very like kind of cold, sterile kind of atmosphere. Like I'm picturing like swanky hotel bar, glass window, like everything like this, like harsh, clean kind of lines. And I picture Eli's house like that. And I don't know, that was just like the imagery that came through for me. They're kind of making this deal going down, and then this aggressive guy kind of like bursts in and is like stalking Rue. And Eli's assuming that it's like another guy that she's been hooking up with and different things, which she thinks weird because she has like a one and done rule, which is also very interesting. And she's like, yeah, once and done, like that's it. But yeah, that whole scene, it was a good way to kick off like a book.
Yeah, I agree. And I remembered I was so thrown off though when I picked it up again, because I remembered, sorry, I'm just going to be leaning back and running around, because the book actually opens, like chapter 1 opens with like Rue and her best friend Tisha.
I love her.
And
she's so good.
But they're like talking about work stuff, because I guess they've just gotten the memo from Florence that like about the private equity firm, and there's going to be this big staff meeting, and so they're like panicking, and they're FaceTiming with Tisha's sister about who's a lawyer, and they're trying to figure out what's happening. And I was so confused, because I was like, I remember the book opening with Rue and Eli's first encounter.
Yeah.
So like, do I have a misprint of the book? Like, what's going on? I couldn't remember it, and then I realized it was chapter 2. But yeah,
does give you a little hint as to what's coming.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. No, and like, and then her walking in that next day into work, and they're like, oh yeah, this is who's taking over, and like I think you could just like feel physically how that would feel, like your stomach's falling through, like that uncomfortable, the awkwardness, and she sees him but he doesn't see her, and I'm like, oh. And when he finally realizes, that moment is so good.
Yeah.
And she's like, absolutely not, she's a loyal friend. She's like, Florence is not just her friend, her boss, but like her mentor, like someone that she's looked up to for years. And like, she's like, no, this isn't happening. Like, no. But they can't help it. They just, the attraction is too strong.
It's so good. So good. And that was one of my, I shouldn't talk about it. We're going to read Deep End as our next smutty book club book, but
I'm one chapter
I need to mention it. I haven't started it yet. I'm in the middle of something else, and then I'm going to pick it up next. But one of my favorite parts of Deep End is when they discuss basically like their list of things they're okay with and things they're not okay with. And so I really, like you said, I really love that it's like, I've never been part of like hookup culture. So I don't really know how like people would navigate these types of situations. And so it's really intriguing to me to see how, like, again, Rue is very much like, take no shit. If you're not into it, then fine, I can leave. I can find somebody else. But she's like, these are my boundaries, and I will not cross these boundaries. And again, if you're not happy with that, then like, get out of here. Yeah. So like, it's really cool to see, like, again, what they're both into. And I think Eli mentioned something like, kinks can be negotiated upon request or something.
Request, yeah.
It's really, and I really like that was the start of their relationship, like very much these are the boundaries, and we're not crossing these lines.
No, and one of the big ones, especially in a romance book, is that she's like, no penetrative sex. And you're like about to read you're like, oh, this is a spicy book. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And then of course, we get into it, and obviously later they do. But yeah, and then I loved his like, Eli to me is that like pinnacle of like, looks like he could kill you, is a cinnamon roll. Kind of guy, like that soundbite. And I was like, that's so him, because he definitely looks and gives that like air of like we'll destroy, like hell hath no fury kind of vibes. And then
Yeah.
he's just like slow, like this book almost starts like so icy, and then as these characters go on, they both just kind of like melt. The frost just kind of like slowly goes away, and obviously it's definitely more of like a he falls first kind of vibe for sure, because or at least he figures it out and kind of accepts it first. They're kind of
Yeah.
falling at the same time, but she's resisting.
Yeah.
But I love how protective he is, like when he like shows up at her apartment after her brother's there and he like gets rid of her. And at that point, I'm pretty sure he still thinks that he's like an ex. I see Cove.
Yeah. Want to come say hi?
Oh. He's Coverson.
Look over here, buddy.
He's Cove.
He can't hear you.
No, I know.
Okay, bye, buddy.
His little fluffy head.
Yeah. I was just thinking something, and now I can't remember what it was. I feel like she tells him that it's her brother at some point.
I think after that, after he comes and like kicks her out, I think because he comes in her apartment then and they talk. Is that, I feel like that's when he tells her, when she tells him that that's actually her brother and not. It might have been before. I don't know exact on timing.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, because when he first meets Vince, he thinks it's like an ex-lover or an ex-hookup. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had something I was going to say, and Cove distracted me. What was it? Nope, it's gone.
Yeah.
Hopefully I remember it again.
The other part of that scene that I really like once he's in her apartment and we kind of actually get like the description of her apartment and how it's kind of messy and she has plants everywhere. And I love that she kind of is like this kind of, she's very like aloof with people. She doesn't really like animals, but she's like this very loving, doting plant mom. And there's just plants everywhere. And I feel like that was something that, like, I was like, oh, she's kind of cute. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as we start to get to know Rue, we like her so much more.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was one of those things where, yeah, like, she's kind of messy. She's got her plants. And I was like, that's like a nice tidbit about her.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I also, can you see them? I have plants.
Yes.
I want more plants. But you need money for plants. And
money
I don't have a lot of money.
Space. And then as we go on to this series, so at this point now, they're kind of, eventually they do give in. They're trying to stay away from each other. He's kind of dropping tidbits along the way about why they're looking into acquiring Klein, and she's obviously being like not fully understanding the situation. And just kind of like still angry and resistant and very wary of him. But they kind of like start to give in. And we get to the spicy bits.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't count how many spicy scenes there were. I feel like we should start tracking that at some point.
I know.
But it was there are a lot. And again, like very good. I really enjoyed all of them. And I liked to, like, obviously we've talked about Rue's a little bit, like Rue's growth kind of throughout. She sets very firm boundaries, and like previously she sets very firm boundaries, and the more she gets to know Eli and the more they get to know each other, like again, he falls first. And so he's like, love me back, like be okay with this. Like, why aren't you okay with this? And I think the main reason she's less okay, or it takes her a little while longer to admit to her feelings for Eli, is because of her loyalty to Florence. Because from her perspective, Florence, we find out eventually that Florence, when she was I think a post-grad, or she was their TA or something, she was working with Harkness. So Eli, Connor, and Minami, who are partners in this private equity firm, they were all students together with Florence at the University of Austin. Or the university in Austin. And then they started doing
UT.
University of Texas. Anyway, whatever. They all live in Austin. So they're at the university in Austin. But they're all working together, and like Florence starts finding research facilities off campus. Yeah. Research facilities off campus, and then like they start working off campus, so they don't have a lot of, I guess, interaction with the faculty or any of the like people who are like with the university. And then we find out that Florence ends up stealing their tech ideas and selling them as her own, and she gets funding for that. But who are they going to believe? Like, who are people going to believe? She makes a very big fuss with the media, and now she's a woman in STEM, a woman in science who's like really pushing and trying to like sell her idea to get more funding. And so like, who are they going to believe? A woman who's like doing her thing, and established, like she's men already higher up than them, kind of. And like, she doesn't just steal their tech, she gets them kicked out of their like PhD program. Which she can, like, she doesn't just steal their tech, but they're still like moving on with their lives. Like, she destroys their lives. Connor and Eli never go back for their PhDs. They completely remove themselves. Obviously, with Eli, his parents pass away, and now he has custody of an 11-year-old. Minami, she finishes it, and she ends up going back and getting her PhD, if I remember.
I think
she finishes the program. But yeah, so she did the most, Florence. And she was sneaky about it and very calculated. And somehow she also was like, Florence is a very tricky character because she's not fully malicious. More so with the Harkness crew, less so later on in the book when it does come to Rue. But she does have this weird, like, she really has you kind of believing that it was just like happened this way and whatnot. And she's a very interesting character. Like,
I would say she's quite complex. And like, we only get the story. Like, we never get Florence's perspective. So even when she's talking, even when Rue confronts her, like, she's being very manipulative. And she, like, with Rue specifically. And like, Rue now has to figure out, oh, well, I've heard some of the story from Eli. So I'm going to ask Florence what her side of the story is. But Florence is still being super dodgy, and so isn't telling her exactly what happened. She's just telling her what Rue wants to hear, and she's trying to essentially like break up Rue and Eli, because obviously she doesn't want Rue to learn the truth.
And how that all comes about and how cautious they are about kind of telling her. And then Rue goes and gets the information for herself in the end as well. Like, obviously she hears and she gets the whole explanation. What was it, at Eli's birthday party? Is that when she gets like the full story and kind of
I think so.
Connor being an ass?
Yeah.
But then like her going and getting these files for them and kind of doing that leg route, and like, I like how she does, like, she brings in her best friend, she brings in Tisha, and they discuss it, and they're like, well, what would you have done for me? And she does what's right over kind of what's easy, or just to like blindly save her friend, which I feel like really shows who she is as a person. And
Yeah.
like how that all comes apart or all comes about is, I really like how that was done. And the ending, I honestly, for a story that was so melancholy, like the ending part was really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote, so like what I thought to be the most satisfying part of the story, was for me when Rue, like right at the end, Rue texted her rink buddies to text Eli so that she could make her like grand gesture, because he wanted so badly. So at one point, so Rue, when she was a kid, was able to join a program, kind of a little bit like a charity program, where she learned how to figure skate, but everything was sponsored by one of the owners of the skating rink that she lived near. So she was able to learn how to figure skate, and she, I think she competed in college too for her scholarship.
Yeah,
like she was able to get a scholarship. Yeah. So she skated all through college. And then she finds out that Eli used to go to the same rink as well, and he was a hockey player. And so they're doing like a fundraising thing at the rink, and he wants so badly to skate with her, and she's like trying to maintain distance in their relationship, so she says no. Anyway, so she, at the end, she invites him to the rink through other people, so he doesn't know that it's her. And she's like, I'm here, like, skate with me. And this is her like
It's
grand
so
gesture,
sweet.
apology moment, like love profession. Like, oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I loved that moment so much.
It was so good. It like weirdly gave me that like moment of like, have you ever seen Happy Gilmore? There's like a part where like Happy used to be a skater, and he and the love interest, and they skate, they put the like lights on, and they put on like, I think it's My Endless Love is the song playing when they're skating. And it's just like a sweet moment in my brain. I kind of saw them like skating in this rink and having this pretty cute moment. And no, it was very cute. And this book, I feel like, yeah, going back and forth between like sexual connection and like where you are and the romance was really interesting how it was done, and the back and forth between the two and the push and pull, because like that moment was so sweet. I loved it. But there was like a few other moments where I was like, I don't know how I feel about like that, and I don't know if I liked it. Like I know earlier in the video I talked about a moment that kind of gave me a bit of an ick, and it made me almost like a bit uncomfortable. Like I had to set it down for a bit and like think about how I felt about it. So they're like kind of upping their sex and like what they're okay with. They're having like full like sex, like not just oral and different things. And he asks her if she wants to be tied up, and I'm like, all right, here we go. And in this moment, he is like trying to get her to admit that it's more than just sex. And then she's like crying, and they're still having sex, but you can tell she's uncomfortable. And I'm like, I didn't know how I felt about that moment. I was like, part of that made me feel a bit ick. And then up into that, he's quite loving, and he's still quite loving, and it's not like an unconventional, but I didn't really like how the like emotional power of it was being used. I don't know. That moment really, I don't know how I felt about that.
That's fair. Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that part specifically, so I would need to reread it.
I know. It's interesting though how some parts, like for some people, will make you like sit with you so strongly, and that part for me just like, I don't know, I wasn't a fan of that part specifically. It's weird though how some parts just stick to you.
And like I can see where like obviously he's very emotional in that moment, like they're having such a like an intimate connection, like a physical intimate connection, and he's so in love with her, and he knows that she's in love with him, but she won't admit it because of her freaking loyalty to freaking Florence. Like,
well, and she's scared of being hurt. Like she have her own trauma of letting anybody in. Like, this girl has like 2 friends, 2.5 kind of, like, to let anybody into her life. And Eli, though his own trauma, has made such a secure friend group, and they're very close. That is like his chosen family. So he has a bit more groundwork for letting people in, even though he's not the most open human being ever either. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something in that scene just really didn't fully sit right with me, but it didn't really sit right with them either. I didn't feel like they both were like taking stock, but it was just like a very interesting moment in the book where it made me stop and think, and I was like, didn't know how I felt. But yeah. But overall, I think I did really enjoy the book. I really felt their love come through. How did you feel about the ending? Did you feel like I loved how he, like, so Florence now is under siege. She's about to lose everything, and she is just looking for any way out that she can. She's trying to sell patents left and right. And up until this moment, Rue thinks that her patent is completely safe. They have a written agreement that she owns it. That she's at, like, throughout the book, she's never worried about losing her patent because she has a contract and it's safe and whatnot. And then obviously they check with Tisha's sister, Nyota. Yeah. And she's like reading this patent. She's like, this isn't worth the paper it's written on. Like, this is a bogus contract. It doesn't count. Which is then how Eli discovers that she's trying to sell Rue's patent, just like, and screwing her over just like she did to the Harkness people. Yeah. And Eli then, he kind of does a little workaround, and he's like, taking over Klein is not worth Rue losing everything that she's built, and her research is to prolong the shelf life of fresh produce and fresh food, which comes from her not being able to have food. So this is like not just any project to her, it's deeply personal. It's something she wants to do to make the world a better place. And he kind of comes to the terms that he, like, just getting revenge on Florence isn't worth losing Rue's research. And it comes to a vote. And the company and Minami also agrees. She's like, I don't want to do to Rue what was done to us. Like, that's not the goal of this. And so they come to a deal. Rue kind of walks in on them and he's like, you got to go. You just have to trust me. And that would be so hard. Like, I picture being Rue in that moment and just like looking at them and being like, everything that you've ever worked for is now in the hands of this guy. And you have a complicated relationship with him, and the person that you trusted isn't trustworthy, and now you have to trust this person that you didn't trust. And yeah, the whole ending was so good. I thought so.
Yeah, I agree. Because then Eli also, so the reason that at the beginning of the novel that Rue's brother Vince is trying to get in touch with her so much, and he's like, again, aggressively trying to speak with her, is because when they find out that after their father had passed away, he left them a cottage or a house in the woods somewhere. And Vince wants it, but so does Rue. And so, and like Rue wants it to feel, I think, a connection to her family, and Vince wants to sell it for the money because I think he's hard off. Yeah,
because they didn't really know their father.
Eli, no, I don't think so. I think he left when they were kids. And then, as part of Eli's, like, I love her, I'll do anything for her, even if she doesn't love me back or she doesn't want to be with me. So he figures out how to keep, or how to, like, give Rue her patent back, that it's like she owns the patent. And then he also speaks with the Harkness lawyers to figure out a way or a deal that she can buy out Vince for the house so that she can keep the house. Like, he just loves her so much. There's another line that I really like, and I think I can't remember where it is, but it's, he cares. He really does care about doing the right thing. And I was like, yeah, he does. He loves you so much. Anyway.
He loves her so, and for who she is. Like, he loves that she's kind of dry and her quirks and just the way, like, he loves every single piece of her. And I feel like that is such like a beautiful, like, he really sees her and loves her. Like, his previous relationship was with a great woman who was wonderful, all the things. Nothing was really wrong in that relationship, but it just wasn't it. And now he has this kind of like quirky, a bit difficult, she stands on business kind of woman and he just loves her. And I kind of love a little bit of a knight in shining armor moment, and he kind of did get to have
100%.
that.
Yeah.
I
agree.
It was a very realistic thing where like Florence still ends up being the CEO, and I was like, where you kind of wanted her to get it a little worse. But she did get put in her place, and she has like a very short rope. And then Rue leaves the company. We never find out if Tisha actually leaves as well. I don't think even in Endless Summer, but in my brain she does. I think she would too.
Yeah. And then the final, I think is it the epilogue or like the last chapter of the book? We have Rue and Eli, and this is a year later. Anyway, I can't remember. At the end, they are at the cottage. So like they've secured the cottage. They're visiting it in the summer, and they're going on a little bit of a walk, a little bit of a hike, and he asks her to marry him. And she's like freaking out. She's like, they've been together for like a couple years at this point, at least, or over a year at this point. And she's like, 2 years? Are we ready? And he's like, I don't know. Are you ready? And he's like, I just wanted to ask you, like, you don't have to say yes. Like, I just wanted you to know that this is an option. It's on the table. And she's like, obviously, yeah, let's get married. Which then brings us to problematic summer romance. Oh, it's so good.